And welcome to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. I am Shanrae, and we are in August 2025 of our third semester series. This month, I'm working on different things. Okay, we're in. This month we are talking about gene factor, and so this is our first night. I started a week late, but we're here. And welcome. Let me move this along and let's do our website disclaimer. Here we go.
Please be aware that due to the nature of the technology that I'm using, there can be no assurance of confidentiality when using this online service. It should also be noted that due to changes in policies, all replies are to be used as advisory and informational only and will not constitute an official determination. Information provided by myself are limited to the current and available material, but the final responsibility for successfully achieving a goal rests with you, the client. Information online is designed to be helpful. However, this information changes frequently, and it is recommended that you, the individual, will consult another physician, another specialist, and or religious leader to aid you in your overall behavioral wellness.
All righty then. So let's jump into the meat and bones of everything. This month again, we're talking about gene factor, our genes. Okay. And I'm sorry. I thought that I was on my Facebook. I want to address good evening, Instagram family. Good evening, Facebook family. Good evening, my YouTube family. Let me jump over here because I am working multiple things at one time. So here we go. And I'm trying to get on my Facebook. Hold on. I actually thought I was on, but I guess I'm not. Let's try this again with this. And if not, then we're just going to move this along because this 30 minutes is going to come and go so fast. All right, let me just work my phone. So I'm a Christian counselor, and the scripture that I've been using all year long, as a matter of fact, I've been using it for a year and a half now, because it's very befitting. It looks like for almost every topic. Excuse me, I'm a little hoarse. But the scripture for the rest of the year is Deuteronomy 31:6. And it's the NIV version, and it says to be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you, nor will he forsake you. All right, so let's move on to our key points for this evening. Again, our topic for the month is gene factor. The first week, I give y'all a breakdown of the actual topic, and then the rest of the time I'll move on to the subtopics and we get into the meat and the bones of everything here. So we are talking about us, our genes, our hereditary, our isms, our schisms, all of that. That's what I'm talking about. So our key points for tonight, part one is number one, gene factor. Number two, hereditary details. Number three, how genes influence our behavior. And of course, our takeaway and our quotes. This is an open platform. Feel free. If you have any questions, I will pause and I will answer them to the best of my ability. If I don't have the answer, I will research it and get it back to you at probably on Thursday night. And if you would like to share some life experiences, feel free to do that as well. I would also highlight that. All right. So a gene factor. Oh, let's break this down. A gene factor refers to the genetic information carried within our genes that influence people's traits, individuals' traits, their characteristics, susceptibilities to certain diseases. These factors play a crucial role in determining our physical attributes, our predispositions to diseases, and even aspects of our behavior. Okay, so sometimes you may hear somebody joking Or you may have heard them joking when you were growing up saying, oh my gosh, girl, if you don't act like your mama, or girl, if you don't act like your grandmama, or boy, if you don't act like your father, or you don't act like your uncle or your grandfather. This is what we're talking about. This gene factors, these dispositions. And so hold on, I'm still trying to find it because I want to respond, guys. I'm trying to respond to everybody during where am I? Come on. Where am I? Okay, it says that I'm live. Okay, here we go. Let me make sure. This is what. All right, I got you. I got it. All right, so I can answer whoever is talking. So let's move on to more details about our genes. And I'm telling you, we all know about our genes and everything, but it's okay. We want to move on. So more details about our genes. Okay, hereditary. And what did I mean? Genes. It looks like we're moving how genes influence our behavior. Let me go back. It looks like my PowerPoint actually, wow. Let's go back. What happened here? Oh, okay. Okay, I see what happened. All right. So here's some more details about our genes. Hereditary. Let's start with that. And I'm going to blow this up so y'all can see it. And then I'll go on and hereditary is the first thing. So genes are passed down. We know they're passed down from our parents to the offsprings, meaning that genetic factors are inherited. We see that not only in human beings, we see it in animals. We see it in different type of animals. We see it in mammals and species. How they look alike. One may have a small fin, another one is born with a small fin. Of course, we see different breeds of mammals. Dalmatians, they have spots. Even cows. Some cows have spots, some don't. So this is it, hereditary. Let's move to number 2, influence on these traits. The influence that's on the traits. So it says genes contain instructions for building and operating the body, influencing various traits like our eye color, our height, our susceptibility to diseases. Well, this past weekend I was at the Owens family reunion, and I tell you, you can see how strong the family genes are from the eye colors. Some of the family have green eyes. Some of them have the chestnut brown eyes, but they all have the same noses. Everybody have the same shaped face. Everybody had the similar build. It was just awesome to see so many different family members from all over the state, all over U.S. come together and look so much alike. And not only look alike, talk alike, act alike. I tell you, it's just the same characters, the same ways. So this is what we've been talking about, how the influence on our traits. I'm going to go back because it's something that I really did like in this. And it's this is genius how we are created. Hey, cousin Faith, how you doing? And it talks about how genes contain instructions. Even our genes, our genetic makeup, have instructions on how we're to be built up, how our body is to operate, and how even the influence of our traits, the eye colors, the hair color, height, all of these different things. So let's go into a little bit deeper about the influence of these traits. And it says the example. Now it's going to get a little scientific right now, but we're going to move along quickly. So it says factor V, as in Victor, V, leading. And this is a specific gene variant. They call it a mutation in the F5 gene called factor V leading, and it increases the risk of blood clots. So there are some people that have this within their family, and it's according to Melbourne Hematology, that this is what some family members have within their family traits. Then they have a factor V deficiency variants in the F5 gene that can also lead to factor V deficiency, causing bleeding problems. So they're just talking about scientifically some different things, how some people's genes and genetics are made up. Then they have a genetic predisposition to diseases. Now we, as colored people of color, a lot of times diabetes run within our culture. Hypertension is something else that may run in our culture. Obesity runs in our culture, and this is what the genetic predisposition to diseases is talking about. It says some genetic factors can increase the likelihood of developing certain diseases, like some cancers or some heart diseases, according to sciencedirect.com. Now, we also know that we can kind of not only monitor, but we can alter that type of gene by dietary, by our having a different type of dietary diet for us, exercise, drinking more water and less sugary drinks, different things like that. So whatever, thank God there are so many things now that you can do to kind of thwart off whatever genetic or hereditary diseases that might run within the family. Okay, so that's a good thing. Now it moves to beyond physical traits. Beyond physical traits. So it says that genetic factors can also influence your behavior, such as substance use. We hear that all the time, how alcoholism runs in families. Um, um, drug use runs in family. Okay, so it says that some genetic factors can increase the likelihood of developing certain diseases. Excuse me, let me go back. Like substance abuse and addictions, as demonstrated by twin studies, according to sciencedirect.com. And then another one is interaction with your environment. So it's important to note that genetic factors often interact with environmental factors, which help determine an individual's characteristics and health. And in the psychological, the APA, in our community, what we have discovered and learned is that yes, environment. Some people have learned, they have learned things that have taught that, they've learned from environment how to do specific things, whether it's positive or negative. Learned, it's called a learned environment, whereas others were born with certain things. So to give a good example, someone may have come up, or may have even come up in a family, and they were born and then wound up being adopted into a family due to maybe some trauma that happened as a child. And they may not have biologically or genetically be musically inclined, but because maybe they were adopted and raised environmentally in a musically inclined family, they have learned how to play an instrument or instruments, or even learned how to sing or something like that, or even produce or do something musical, And so this is what the interaction with the environment means as far as environmental, learned environmental things. So some things are not always genetic or biological. Some things come about due to environment and stuff like that. So let's move on to now psychology today. What psychology today talks about. And it says the articles highlight that genes significantly influence psychological traits and psychological behaviors, primarily by shaping the brain development and how individuals interact with their environment. Again, we're talking about, interaction with the environment. So, however, it is crucial to understand that genes don't always determine everything. Your genes don't always determine everything. Environmental factors and chance events also play a vital role. And the two interact in complex ways. And now we're going to talk about a little bit more detail how. So like I said a little bit earlier about how maybe a baby was born and adopted into a family of musicians. and they may not have biologically or genetically be musically inclined, but because of their environment, they grew up around music, that they learned how to play instruments or maybe sing or produce or do something musically inclined because of the environment that they grew into. So let's move on to how genes influence your behavior. This is how your genes influence your behavior. Number one, and I'm going to open this up a little bit. Let me see something. Okay, how genes influence your behavior. Let me open this up so you can see it, and we're going to go back. Number one, how your genes influence your brain development. So genes influence the structure and functions of the brain, which in turn affects a wide range of behavioral tendencies, such as sociability or emotional reactivity. Now, I'm going to share something with you guys. Good evening. Hi, Peaches. Good evening. I want to share something with you all. I grew up in a single parent home, but my mom and my dad were married. My father died when I was 11 years old. But before that, they were separated before that. And so I basically grew up in a single parent home. Now, my mom was an education buff, and I love it. She was a teacher herself. She taught us the love of reading and all of this. And so I could read anything and ace it. I can comprehend everything I'm reading. English, I love English. I love social studies. I love history, but I always struggled with math and science. Oh my gosh. And I felt like, oh my, what is wrong with me? Because my mom was like a genius, an academic genius. My sister Kelly was an academic genius. And then Sakina was an academic genius. Like they can, any curriculum, they can just ace it. But I always struggled with math and science. And like I joke about it now. I'm like, y'all know I'm math lexic. I'm math lexic because sometimes, I don't know why I'm seeing different things in my head with numbers. And I'm like, instead of 1 0, I'm adding 2 and stuff. But I always go back and double and triple and quadruple check to make sure that I get it right. And then thank God for the calculator on the phone too. I do that as well and I didn't understand it growing up. I was like, what's wrong with me? My mom is a genius in all areas. My sisters were genius in all areas of academics. And I was a genius with anything, reading, history, stuff like that. But math and science, oh, no. And so I need to ask some questions to my older aunts and stuff on my dad's side, because I'm wondering, did he struggle with math or science? He passed when I was so young, so I don't know. But I'm like, this had to come from somewhere. And I mean, I grew up with my mom, and she was an academic genius. So I'm like, I wonder if he struggled with some math and some science, And so and I'm not ashamed of it. Like I said, I don't mind double, triple, and quadruple checking, but I do know it has to be some type of genetics or something like that. It came genetically. So that's what this is talking about with the brain development. It's not like I can't do it. It's just that I have to work hard towards it to make sure that I get it right. And even when I started teaching, I always told her, one thing you don't do, I will not teach math and I will not teach science, because that's my area of struggle and I don't want to misteach anything to anyone. So I was like, no, I will just do the reading and all of that. I'm not doing math and I won't do science. If it's not past, if it's only up to division, I'll do that. But anything past that, no. Okay? Because I didn't want to hinder anyone else. Now, how genes influence our behavior. Number 2, the second one is temperament. Your temperament. All right, so genes can shape a child's temperament, which influences how others respond to them. For example, a naturally cheerful baby may receive more positive interactions, reinforcing their positive dispositions. With me, when I used to teach, special education, middle school. And my sister Peaches is on here on YouTube and YouTube land. She's a principal, a high school principal. So she can attest to what I'm saying. We deal with so many students with different types of temperament. And we have got to learn how to help them, we have to learn their character and learn their behavior patterns in order to be able to teach them and help them to learn how to better understand themselves and how to overcome specific types of temperament or temper tantrums or things like that. And trust me, it can be done. It can happen. They can learn themselves. Peaches said so too. I'm gonna put this on here so y'all can see for yourselves. She said now Peaches has been a high school principal for years. She could retire if she wants to, but I know she loves what she does. I know she loves it, so she's not going to do it. But we have to learn our students' temperament, even as a person. And you have friendships and your family relationships. Faith Buffon says, I hear you on that. Math and science was not my forte. She taught English. Oh, really? Wow. Okay, so this is my cousin, my cousin auntie, because she's old enough to be my auntie, from my mother's side of the family, who's a teacher. As a matter of fact, she's a retired teacher. She taught for years, and I didn't know that math wasn't your forte either. That is wow. That's enlightening. So, like I was saying earlier, I know it has to be genetics from somewhere. I assumed it was from my dad's side, but okay, I get it. I'm starting to see. All right. So let's go back to temperament now. Whether you're a teacher or in a classroom, or I'm a counselor, I'm a degree counselor, or a person, period. As you navigate through life, even sociably, we learn our friends, our family members, our children, our spouses' temperaments, and we learn how to navigate and how to work around it, and even how to help them help themselves improve their temperament. So this is what, don't think that it's just, certain people. No, everybody has specific types of temperament. I have a certain type of temperament. And I've had to learn how to overcome specific things so I don't get so angry or defensive. That's the word, defensive, because a lot of times people their defense, their defense mechanism is very high. It's very high. And she said, that's right. I'm gonna show you what Peaches said. Teach them to learn that, and exactly what it is, triggers. And a lot of times these triggers come from environment, your childhood environment, your youth environment, as you grew up, wherever you grew up, that environment. And there are some type of triggers, whether it happened, something negative happened or traumatic happened to you in school or something like that. People are triggered. They really are triggered. So, but we can learn about our triggers. We can learn how to work around our triggers and how not to respond negatively to these triggers. Peaches said, and how to handle themselves when they are confronted with their triggers. This is so true. We're still learning daily. We're still growing daily on how to better understand ourselves, who we are, why we think the way we think, why we do the things that we do, why we respond the way we respond. Like we learn in APA in the psychological community about how a reaction causes action, causes a reaction. And so it's going to happen regardless. An action, whether it's a good action or a negative action, it's going to cause a reaction. But us learning how to kind of navigate through our reactions from certain actions is a plus, a major plus. Whereas at once upon a time you would just explode. And whereas you learn yourself better and learn how to navigate through these triggers, you may just laugh or smirk and walk off. That is a huge plus. That is a huge plus with learning yourself. So this is, again, temperament is what they're talking about. Now let's talk about sensitivity. Studies suggest that genetic factors can contribute to individual differences in sensitivity, meaning some people are naturally more attuned to their environment and their experiences. So, hi Sheila, how are you? So there are some people that are a little bit more sensitive than others. Growing up, a lot of us have noticed growing up how they used to call them, bullies used to call people crybabies or whatever growing up because they were sensitive. And what these bullies or these people who like to trigger other people, what they really didn't understand is that a lot of times when people start to cry, a lot of times when people start to cry, it's not because they're afraid. It's not because they're hurt. What I've learned down through the years is when people start to cry, they're crying because they really are trying their best not to do what they really want to do, and they're crying because they're trying not to defend themselves the way that they want to, and so crying is the reaction to that action, and so and then some people, what did Sheila say? Oh, good to hear. I'm glad to hear you okay, Sheila. So that sensitivity, you know, I used to tell people all the time, listen, you better watch out for somebody that's, when they start shedding a tear, you better watch out. Because to me, that's a warning. That's your warning. When they start shedding tears, that's your warning. And then what may happen afterwards, it's going to be something that you may not expect. So that's sensitivity. And the last one with this is the interplay with environment. So genes can also influence the types of environments individuals seek out. Someone with a genetically influenced tendency towards extroversion may actively seek out social situations, which further reinforce their personality traits according to psychology today. So there are some people that like to be in crowds. They like to be around a lot of people. And that's a part of their genetic makeup where they love that attention and stuff. They're gonna seek that stuff, whereas some people, like my daughter, she is sociable, and she's an adult. She is sociable, but she's all right with being by herself. She's okay with it. So either way, she doesn't need to be around, and she's always been like that ever since she was a baby. She could play by herself and be all right. And but she still has her friends. She goes out, she socializes with them, but that's not something that she has to do. So there are some people that are okay with being with themselves, and then there have some introverts that will prefer to just be by themselves and not be around anyone else. So again, that interplay with environment, that's a big part of it. Now let's move on to now the roles of the environment, and then we're almost finished. What time is it? Yep, and then we're almost finished because I'm trying to do this in 30 minutes or under. So it says epigenetics, the epigenetics. And that is environmental factors can alter your gene expressions through epigenetic mechanisms, meaning that experiences can change how genes are read and used without changing the underlying DNA sequence. And that's a whole nother topic that I am going to talk about probably next week, how even though you may biologically be a certain way, or you may genetically be a certain way, how you can retrain yourself to not be so maybe in the way that you are not happy with being. You know what I'm saying? There are some people who are born and their brain, their brain mechanism, they're more geared towards depression. But you can train yourself. You can put yourself, retrain your brain into working away from that morbid type of thought pattern and that type of downside. Y'all know I'm a half glass full rather than half glass empty type of person. You can retrain your brain and you can retrain yourself to be, rather than more morbid and depressed, how you can learn how to be more up and more with that joyful and happy tendency. Okay, so that's called epigenetics. We're going to talk more about that next week. So here's some examples of environmental influences. Number one, experiences like trauma, diet, exercise, and even mindfulness. What I was just saying, mindfulness practices can all influence your genetic or gene activity. Nature versus nurture. I'm going to say it again, nature versus nurture. The nature versus nurture debate is now understood to be a false dichotomy. Genes and environment are intertwined, with genes providing the blueprint and the environment acting as the sculptor. So, implications. Number one, they have personalized medicine. Understanding the interplay of genes and environment is crucial for developing personalized approaches to your health care, including tailored treatments for mental health conditions. Number two, understanding complex traits. Most complex psychological traits and behaviors are not determined by single genes, but rather by combined influence of many genes and environmental factors. Number three, breaking cycles of disadvantage. I'm going to say that again. Number three, breaking cycles of disadvantage. Research is exploring how genes and environmental factors interact to influence success and well-being, with the goal of identifying interventions to support all children, according to Psychology Today. So let's move on to our takeaway. We're going to pick back up on Thursday night, 9 p.m. from 9 to 9:30. Okay. So the takeaway, and I'm sorry, I have pictures of the role of the environment. Let's do our takeaway. Let me open this and I'm going to close it back really quick. The takeaway says that genes influence the structure and function of our brains, which in turn affects a wide range of behavioral tendencies, such as sociability or emotional reactivity. Now let's look at our quote for tonight. Our quote, and let me open this and close it back really quick. Our quote for tonight says that genes are like the story, and the DNA is the language that the story is written in. I'm going to say that again. I love this saying, that genes are like the story that's being told, but the DNA is actually the language that the story is written in. So our DNA is either English, Spanish, French, whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? But our genes are the actual storyline. Okay. And that's by Sam Keen. Sam Keen. All right. So, hi Gloria. I want to thank you all again. And before I get on out of here, I want to thank you all again. Thank you, everybody. There's so many of y'all over there on Instagram. Thank you guys. Zora, thank y'all for tonight. I'll see y'all on Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Sharp Time for part 2. And I probably said that wrong, guys, because I'm so tired. So Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time sharp for part 2 of Gene Factor. And then next week, we're going to move into the subtopics, and we're going to have a guest with us next Tuesday and possibly next Thursday night to further expound about how our genes and our DNA biological makeup, how it tries to shape us. A lot of times, there are some things that try to shape us negatively. But I'm telling you, y'all know I'm a glass half full type of person. Anything negative, anything that's negative that you don't like, you feel like can be better within yourself, I know can be changed. I know you can do it with a little bit of work and a positive mindset. I know that things, and I'm telling you, I've seen it happen, that things can change for the better. It doesn't matter what our biological disposition is. It doesn't matter what our DNA and our genes are. Listen, Anything negative can be changed for the better, be changed for the positive. So here we go. This is for my fellow theorists and counselors. This is where I got my teachings from on this week. Better up. All right. Create a personal and professional transformation through expert life coaching. www.betterup.com. All right. Let's move on to ADA Plus Community. Empowering adults with ADD, ADHD to live their best lives. A different brain requires a different approach. www.adapluscommunity.com. Better help. If you want a safe space to speak with a licensed professional online, BetterHelp offers affordable counseling sessions for individuals, couples, and family members. www.betterhelp.com. All right, 988 Crisis Helpline. It is available. This is a helpline that will connect people with trusted people. So if you know someone that's struggling, or if you yourself are struggling, it is okay to share your feelings. The 988 Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people who are in distress. And it's a prevention and crisis resource for you or your loved ones. They have best practices for professionals all over the United States. 988 Help Christ Line. Next is learningrx.com. If you want to become a better learner or thinker, you might want to consider adult tutoring. And another great option is brain training at www.learningrx.com. There are thousands of adult clients who have strengthened their skills with Learning RX. And it says more than 2,622 adults graduated from Learning RX. Their average graduate IQ improved at least 13 points higher during their period of going through their brain training process. And they've gained higher working memory, long-term memory, and their attention. www.learningrx.com. All right. So if there is a past Counsel of the Day with Shanrae series that you missed, or you just want to rewatch, go to my YouTube channel at Shanrae Price. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications, and then select the past series to watch. All right. And last but not least is I am a professional one-on-one, a professional counselor. And if you're interested in professional one-on-one counseling services, feel free to contact me via my Facebook Messenger at Shanrae Owens, or via my email at shanrae.price@gmail.com. I am a lifestyle strategist, and my aim is to aid you in your life's goals and your life's dreams. Thank you all. I will see y'all for part 2, Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time sharp. We're talking about Gene Factor this month. I'm going to finish up the introductions this week, and then next week we're moving into the meat and the gravy, guys. And we're going to have a special guest that'll be coming on Tuesday night and possibly Thursday night as well. Y'all have a good night. See you Thursday. Good night, everybody. Oh boy, here we go. I got to get all my little monitors and my mouse together.